Hello everyone, today we're going to build something really cool in React. A certificate generator that lets users type a name, instantly preview a professional certificate, and then download it as a PDF. We'll be using React, Tailwind CSS for styling, and the powerful React PDF library. By the end of this tutorial, you will know exactly how to create your own dynamic PDFs in any project, whether it's certificates, invoices, or something else. Let's jump right in. Okay, so let's get started. Let's open our terminal by pressing Ctrl and backtick, and let's set up our frontend. For that, let's say npm create vid at latest, and I will write dot in the end so that everything will be installed right inside this folder without any additional folders. So let's press enter. Okay, let's choose a framework, which will be React. Then let's choose JavaScript and let's write npm install. Great, now it's time to connect Tailwind CSS to our project so we can visit their official website for that. So let's do it. Okay, here let's click get started. Then we can skip the first part because we have already done it. Now let's copy this command and paste it in our terminal. Great. Now we need to make some changes inside vid.config.js file. So let's copy it. And inside vid.config.js file, let's paste it right here. And inside plugins array, let's also use Tailwind CSS. So let's save this file. And now we need to add an import to our CSS file that will import Tailwind CSS. So let's copy it. And inside source folder, inside index.css, we can replace it with our import. So let's save it. Now the package that we need to be able to create PDF files will be the following. So let's say npm install at react-pdf/renderer. So let's install it. Great. Now let's delete app.css file. We don't need it. And inside app.j6, we can also remove all this boilerplate code. So let's do it. Okay, so let's save this file. And now let's open our terminal again. And let's clear it first. And let's say npm run dev to start our frontend. So let's open it. And here we have our hello. Great. So let's close this tab and I will split my screen. Okay, let's close our terminal and I want to change this default title inside index.html. Let's say React PDF. So let's save it. Great. Now let's close the tabs that we don't need. And now we can actually go to the official website of React PDF. So as you can see, here we have it. Let's click try it out. And as you can see here, we need to use document component, page component, and so on. And also we will have an image component. So if I make some changes here, as you can see, the changes are right here. Great. And also if we go to the bottom of this page, as you can see, we need to register a font to be able to use it. And then we can apply styles like this. We can apply styles in a different way, but I'm gonna apply it this way. I will also use this font. So let's copy it and let's paste it right here. And we need to, of course, we need to import font from React PDF renderer. And also for our styles, we need to import style sheet. Okay, great. So we have registered our font, which is Oswald, and provided the source. Now what I suggest to do is to save this file, and inside source folder, we can create one more folder called components. And inside this folder, we can create our file, which will be certificate. And here we're gonna have the layout of a certificate that we want. Okay, so let's quickly create a structure of our component. And if you don't know how to do it, you need to make sure that you have an extension called, let me find it. It will be let's wait for it. So you need to make sure that you have this extension. As you can see, I have it. So after that, you'll be able to create different kinds of components using snippets. Okay, so let's close it. So as you can see here, we need to have a document and then page. So let's do it. So here I will remove it and I will say document, and it should come from React PDF renderer. So let's close this tag, and then we want to have a page. Let's also import it, and let's also close it /page, and let's write something inside. As you can see, if I hover over, you can read it. So this component represents the PDF document itself. It must be the root of our tree-element structure, and under no circumstances should it be used as children of another React PDF component. In addition, it should only have children of type page. Okay, and now if we hover over page, we don't see anything because we need to make sure that we import it from React PDF renderer as well. And now if we hover over, it says represents single page inside the PDF document or a subset of them if using the wrapping feature. It can contain as many pages as you want, but ensure not rendering a page inside any component besides document. So a page should always be inside a document. Okay, and here let's say that we want to just display some text. Let's say text, and let's say hello world, for example. And let's also import text component from React PDF renderer. Okay, if we hover over text, it says a React component for displaying text. Text supports nesting of other text or link components to create inline styling. Okay, so let's save it, and inside app.j6, here let's say that we want to display this certificate component. So let's do it. Let's save this file and see what we have. So as you can see here, we have hello world, and it isn't exactly what we want, but the thing is that we managed to create some basic structure and everything is working. That's great. And you can say that the font isn't Oswald. You can say it just by looking at it, but we'll take care of styles a bit later. Now, to be able to see it like it is a PDF, we need to wrap this inside a PDF viewer component. So for that, let's remove it and let's say PDF viewer, which comes from React PDF renderer. And inside this, we want to have our certificate. So let's save it. And as you can see, we have like PDF, but here, let's open it in bigger screen. But here, as you can see, it is too small, and now it doesn't look like PDF, but it's kind of look like PDF, okay? And we don't have a button to download it. Okay, let's do everything step by step. And now we can have it inside a different component. So I'm gonna remove this, and what I want to do is to create a new component which will be preview PDF. Let's say preview component. Okay, and inside this preview component, we want to have our certificate component. So let's import it right here. And now inside this app.j6, we can have our PDF, we can have our preview component. So let's save it and let's save it as well. Okay. So let's wrap the certificate component inside PDF viewer again. Okay. And now let's do the following. Let's say that this PDF viewer should have width, which will be 100%, and height, which will also be 100%. So let's remove it and let's save it again. Okay, looks cool. And let's say that we want to apply a class name, and here let's say that min height will be 500 pixels. Okay, and as you can see, now we see these buttons, like we can download it, we can say that we want to print it, we can change its size. We can say fit to page. Okay. And these characters aren't the name of the file, but it is rendered on React PDF library. So it is done by React PDF library so that it's like a unique ID of this current PDF. Okay. And we can click menu. And as you can see here, we also have this interface. Okay. Now we can start applying some styles. So to do that, let's go inside app.jsx file, and under this font, we can create a variable which will be styles. So let's say const styles will be equal to style sheet, which comes from React PDF render.create. And here, oops, we need to be careful when we work with parentheses and curly braces. Okay, great. Now we can say that to the page, we can apply the following styles. So we have page, and let's say that padding will be 40. And if we go to React PDF, okay, let's go to styling. And as you can see, here we have that we have valid units, and by default, so a second ago, we wrote 40. So it will be 40 points default based on the standard 72 dpi PDF document. Okay, it's not the same as pixels, it's a bit different. Okay, I think that this moment is clear to you. Okay, let's come here, and to see that we successfully managed to apply this style and to see this padding, we need to do the following. We need to pass these styles to this preview component. So let's say styles will be equal to styles. Okay, so let's save it, and inside preview component we can destructure it by saying styles, and we need to take these styles and we need to pass it to certificate component. So let's do it. Let's say styles will be equal to styles. Okay, so let's save it. And now inside certificate component, we can get access to it by saying styles. Oops, by saying styles. And inside this component, we need to come to this page component, and let's say style will be equal to styles.page, because here we have it to be page. Okay, so let's save it. And as you can see, styles aren't applied. So now let's try to refresh the page. And as you can see, now styles are applied. So sometimes when we're gonna work with React PDF, we will not be able to see our styles being applied immediately. So when I started working with React PDF, I noticed this behavior quite often, and sometimes during this video we're gonna see it, but I'm gonna explain how to deal with it and what to do to avoid it. Okay, because when I just saved this file, you and I expected that our styles will be applied immediately, but it didn't happen. I had to refresh the page manually, but it isn't what we want. We want it to happen as soon as we save our file. But we're gonna take care of it very soon, okay? So now we have applied our styles. Okay, and now we can keep adding more details to our certificate to make it look really like a certificate. Now under this page component, we can use a view component, which will also come from React PDF renderer. So the view component is basically like a div in HTML. It groups and structures elements together and allow us to apply styles like borders, padding, flex layouts, and it helps us organize the layout inside a PDF page. Without it, all elements would just stack individually, but with view, we can control alignment, spacing, and grouping it in a clean way. So we can take this text and put it right here. It's really like a div. So now if I save and if I refresh the page, as you can see, nothing has changed. It's like a div. Nothing has changed as it would be like if we work with just a div. Okay, now let's say that instead of this hello world, here we want to have the following text. Let's say certificate of achievement, and then under this text, we can have one more text component, And let's say that we want to say this certificate is proudly presented to, and then under this component, we want to have the name of a person that we want to give this certificate to. So for that, here we can say that we want to have a curly brace, and we want to say that here we will have either a name which will come us from app.j6, or we want to say, we can say, or we want to say your name here. Okay, your name here. But for now, as you can see, name is undefined here. So for now, we will just go with your name here. Okay, because we are doing it for styling. And then we want to have one more text component. And here we want to say, let's paste this text. So it says for outstanding performance and dedication. So let's save this file. And as you can see, again, we don't see these texts. We need to manually refresh the page. And now we see it. Okay, let's just keep adding details to our certificate, and then we're gonna take care of our styles, and then it will look like a real certificate. So after this text, we can have one more view component. So let's say view, and here we want to have a text, and we want to say that it will be for a signature. And after this text, we want to have a place for director. So a person who is a director. Then after this view component, we can have one more text component. And here we want to say that date will be equal to, and here we can use the following function, which will be new date function to local date string. Let's call this function and let's save it. Let's refresh the page. And as you can see, we have the following date. So that's great. Now let's add an image, and that will be it for our certificate. We will just add styles. So let's add an image right here. For that, we need to use an image component, and it's a self-closing component. And here we need to provide an image. I'm gonna do it very quickly. So for the source, let's paste this image. I took this image from Unsplash, so let's save it. Let's refresh the page again. And here is the image. It's like a logo, okay? You can put it a logo. So that's great. This is how our PDF looks like. Now we can say that to the image tag, we want to apply the following style. Let's say that it will be styles.logo. Then for this text, it will be style. It will be equal to styles.title. For the next text component, it will be, let's say, it will be subtitle. Then for this text, it will be, let's say, style, and it will be styles.name. Then for this text, let's say that it will be styles.body. And then to this view, it will be like our footer. So let's say styles.footer. And to this text, it will be signature. So let's say style will be equal to styles.signature. And to this text, it will be signature as well. Okay, so let's put it right here. And then to this text, we can say that it will be styles.date. Great. So I'm not gonna save this file because these styles don't exist yet. We just do it beforehand. So just by writing these kind of styles, we can start styling our component. So let's come back to our app.j6 file and start adding more styles. So to the page in general, we can say that font size will be 14 points, and we can say that text align will be center. Okay. Then for the background color, we can say that it will be this color, and for height, let's say that it will be 100%. So let's save it. And as you can see, now it is in the center. Great. And also let's come back to this certificate, and here to this view component, let's say that style will be equal to styles.border. Okay, so let's save it. Now let's come to this app.j6, and let's say that next we want to have a border, and these styles will be applied to our view component. So here let's say that we want to have a border, and its value will be 5 points. It will be solid, and it will be this blue color. So let's type it. Okay, and let's say padding will be 20 points, and border radius will be 10 points. So let's save it, and as you can see, we don't see it. So let's refresh the page, and now we have a border. Okay, great. So as you can see, it isn't taking the whole height, so we can fix it by saying height will be 100%. So let's save it, and here it is. Great. And then we can say that it will be, display will be flex, and it should be inside quotes, of course. Then flex direction will be column, and justify content will be center. Okay, now when it comes to our logo, which is our image, we can apply the following styles. Let's say that its width will be 120 points, and its height will be 120 points as well. And then let's say that margin bottom will be 20, and let's say that align self, let's say align self will be center, and we want it to be rounded. So let's say border radius, will be 60 points. So let's save it, and as you can see, here we go. It looks pretty cool, yeah, and our content is in the center. Great. Now let's work with our title, which is certificate of achievement. So to our title, we can say that font size will be 30 points, then margin bottom will be 20 points, and now we can say that font family will be Oswald. Next, we can say that our color will be this blue color. Let me copy it, and it will be our color. So let's save it. We don't see our changes, so let's refresh it. Okay, looks like we have an error. Oh guys, sorry, it is because of my internet connection. Okay, now I'm gonna fix it. Okay, so I fixed my internet connection, and now this is how our title looks. Great. Now let's work with our subtitle. So let's say subtitle, and let's say that for our subtitle, font size will be 18, and margin bottom will be 40. And font family, let's say font family will be Times Roman. And for the color, we can make it a bit like gray. So let's say that we want to apply this color. So let's save it. And as you can see, this is how it looks. It looks really, really cool, at least to me. Okay, let's click fit to page. And now, guys, as you can see, it looks really great. Okay, let's make it a bit more, and let's continue. So next in the line will be name. So let's say name, and for the name, let's say that font size will be 26 points, and margin vertical, let's see, margin vertical will be 20. Okay, so margin vertical means that it is margin top and margin bottom. Okay, next let's say that font family will be Oswald, and color will be, let's use it in quotes, will be this color. So let's save it. Okay, looks cool. Now to this text, which is body, let's apply the following styles. Let's see that font size will be 16 points, and here I need to write a colon, of course. Oops. So font size will be 16, and margin bottom will be 40. And for the font family, we can see that it will be Times Roman. So let's apply it, and let's see what we have. Okay, Now we need to take care of our footer. So let's say footer, and here let's say that flex direction will be row, and justify content, let's say justify content will be space between, and margin top will be 50 points, and padding horizontal will be 40. It means that from left and right. Okay, so let's save our file, and this is how it looks. Now when it comes to this signature, and the same style is applied to this text, so when it comes to this signature, we can say signature, and let's say that we want to have border top, and it will be equal to 1 point solid, and let's apply this color, and width will be 150 points. Then text align will be center. Let's say that we want to have a padding from top, which will be 5. Let's say that it will be 5, yes. And font size, let's say that it will be 12, and we can remove this font family. So let's save it. Great. And actually, let's apply this font family, which will be Times Roman. Okay, it looks cool. Now let's see that for our date, we want to have the following styles. Let's say that margin top will be 20, and font size will also be 12. And let's say that for the color, it will be gray. So let's save it. And it looks really, really great, guys. Okay, now it looks like a real PDF file. So now what we need to do next is that we want to have a button to be able to download it. And also we want to make this part dynamic. So let's take care of that. Okay, and now what I suggest to do is to create a new component, which will be our form. So let's say form component.jsx. Okay, so inside this form, we want to be able to write our name, and then we want to display it right here. So inside this form component, we want to have a state. Let's say that it will be name. Let's say set name. And let's say that by default, it will be an empty string. So let's save it. And now inside app.jsx, we need to import it so that we'll be able to see what we are working with. So before this preview component, we can import our form component. And actually to this, to our application, we can also apply some styles. Let's say that min height will be screen, so that we will take all the visible height of the screen. And let's say that background color will be gray 50. And let's say that padding will be 4. So let's save it and see what we have. Okay, great. Here is our form component. So let's say that we want to wrap these two components inside a div. Okay, and to this div, we can apply the following styles. Let's say that max width will be 6 pixel, and we want to place them in the center. So we say margin left and margin right to be auto. And then we want to use grid system so that we will be able to display them differently on different screens. So let's say that by default, the grid columns will be 1, but on larger screens, let's say grid calls to be 3. Okay, and let's say that gap will be 6. So let's save it. And now if I open it in bigger screens, as you can see, they aren't on top of each other. They are in one line, like in one line. Okay, and actually here we can say that the number of columns will be 2. So let's say that it will be 2. Okay, it looks cool. So now let's work with form component. So let's go to form component. And here inside this div, we need to do the following. Let's say that we want to have h1 tag, and let's say that it will be for generate, let's say generate certificate. Okay, and let's apply some styles to this h1 tag. Let's say that it will be, text will be Excel, and font will be bold. We can actually say that it will be semi-bold, and margin bottom will be 4. Let's save it. Okay, so under this h1 tag, we can create one more div. And inside this div, let's have label tag. and we can remove HTML4 attribute. And inside this label, we want to have a span tag, and let's say it will be recipient name. So like recipient's name is a person who will receive this certificate. So here we have a span tag. Now we need to have an input tag, and its type will be text by default, and its value will be name. And on change, we can have a function called handle change. So let's create this function. So we want to see that here we want to get access to the event object, okay? And then we want to say set name to whatever we type. So we can say, for that we can say event.target.value, okay? And here to this input for the placeholder, we can say enter recipient's name. So let's save it. Okay, looks cool. And then under this label, I want to have a button. So let's say a button. And here I want to say update preview. So I want to have this button so that after we type something here, I want to click this button, and then I want to be able to see this text. And the reason I want to do it with clicking this button is because let's go to this React PDF. So let's go to, let's say, quick start guide. Let's say try it out. So as you can see here, if I start typing here something, as you can see here, we have some blinking, and it happens too fast. And personally, I don't want to have this experience. It's for me, I don't want to have this experience, but maybe you want to have this experience. But as I said, I don't want to have this experience. So that's why I want to have a button. So after clicking that button, I want to see the recipient's name. Okay, let's start applying some styles. So to this label, let's say that it will be block. And then to this div, let's say that space vertically will be 3. Okay, then to this span tag, let's say that text will be small and font will be medium and text will be gray 700. Okay, to this input, we can apply the following styles. Let's say that width will be full. Okay, then let's say that we want to have a border, and rounded will be medium. So rounded is like a border radius. Padding horizontally will be 3, vertically it will be 2, text will be small, and then when it is on focus, green will be 2, and when it is on focus, green color will be blue 400, outline will be none, and we can add margin top, which will be 1. So let's save it. So when it is on focus, we see this blue effect. Great. So to this button, let's apply the following styles. Let's say that width will be full and padding vertically will be 3. It will be rounded, large. Background color will be blue 600. Text will be white. Font will be medium. Let's add some shadow, and on hover, background color will be blue 700. So let's save it. Okay, looks cool. And to this div, let's apply the following styles. Let's say that background color will be white and padding will be 6. Okay, then let's say that it will be rounded XL. So it will be 12 pixels. Sometimes if you don't know what a certain Tailwind CSS class means, you can always hover over and get additional information. Okay, and let's add some shadow, which will be small. So let's save it. Great. As you can see, we have some shadow. Let's see it in bigger screens. Looks cool. Okay, guys. Now I want my PDF file to take 2/3 of the original width. Okay, for that we can do the following. So let's go to our preview component. Well, actually, let's come here and say that grid calls will be 3. Okay, so here it will be 3, so let's save it. And here, as you can see, if we come to this if we come to this form component, and now if we come to this form component, I can say that on large screens call span will be 2. So let's save it. As you can see, now this form is taking 2/3 of all the width, but I want this PDF to take 2/3. So this one will take only 1/3. So let's do it. For that, I can say that this one will take 1/3, and this preview component, let's come to this div and let's say that on large screens, let's say call span to be 2. And now it takes 2/3 as I want. That is great. Okay, as I said, when I enter a name here, and then when I click update preview, I want to see the name right here. Okay, so to do that, inside app.j6, we can create a state. So let's do it. Let's create a state. Let's say certification data. Set certification data to be equal to use state. And here we want to have one object. It will be name, and by default, it will be empty. So we want to create a function called handle preview, and it's going to accept an input. Okay, let's say input. And then we want to say set certification data to be equal to this input. Great. So next, what we need to do is to pass this function to form component. So let's say that on preview, we want to pass this function right here. Okay. And at the same time, we need to get access to this certification data. And actually, let's say certificate data, right? It will be more correctly to say certificate data, and here let's say certificate data. So we need to we need to say certificate. Okay, so we need to take this certificate data and pass it to preview component. So let's do it like this. Okay, so let's save it, and now inside form component we can get access to that function, which is handle preview, by saying on preview. Okay, now let's say const handle preview. Let's create this function. And here let's say that on preview, we want to pass a name here. And when will it happen? It will happen, let's say, when we click this button. So let's say on click handle preview. At the same time, this should be done not only when we click, but also when we press. So let's say const handle key press function. Here we can get access to our event object, and then let's say if event.key is equal to enter, then we also want to call this function. Okay, so let's call it, and when we write something here, we can press enter. So that's why we need to take this function here, and we need to come to this input, and we need to say on key down, we want to call this function. Okay, but right now it will not work because, as you remember, inside certificate, we don't get access to the name property, but we should get access to it. So inside preview component, we need to make some changes. First of all, let's get access to this certificate data, which come to us from app.j6, and here we can also start applying some styles. Okay, so let's do some styling first. So let's say that background color will be white, then let's say that padding will be 6, rounded will be XL, and shadow will be small. Then let's say that it will be flex, and flex direction will be column. Then for now we can remove this, I guess. Yes, let's just remove it and we'll come back to it. So let's say that here we want to have h1 tag, and let's say certificate preview. Then we want to have a div, and here we need to do the following. We need to say if certificate data dot name is true, we want to do something here. If not, we want to do something here. So if certificate data dot name is really true, we need to use this PDF viewer component. So let's say PDF viewer component, and inside this we want to have our certificate component. Okay, but if certificate data dot name isn't true, here we can just have a div. Let's have a div, and let's say that we want to have enter details to generate preview. Okay, so let's save it. And before that, let's save this form component, and let's save this preview component. So as you can see, right now we have only enter details to generate preview. It means that certificate data.name isn't true. But as you can see here, we provided the name, but at the same time, we shouldn't see it. So now if I refresh the page, the name is gone. So we didn't see the name because I didn't click this button, because certificate data was empty at the time. So let's say Mike, and now if I click update preview, we will see this certificate. Well, we don't see what we need, right? But we don't have this enter details. It means that certificate data.name is true, and we don't see what we need is because to PDF viewer we need to say width to be 100% and height to be 100%. And let's say that minimum height will be 500 pixels. So let's save it, and still we don't see what we need because here I forgot to provide styles, right? So let's save it. And now we have what we need. So now it looks really good. But at the same time, we still don't see the name that we need, which is Mike, because inside certificate, as you can see, we don't even have it. So inside preview component, we need to pass certificate data. So we can pass it like this by doing object spreading. So certificate data has only one property, which is name, but maybe in the future you want to add some more. You can say that name will be equal to certificate data, or you can pass it completely like this. And now let's get access to it. We can say name, so we can do destructuring like this. And then, as you remember, I said that here we want to have conditional rendering, and we want to say if name is provided, we want to provide it this way, and if not, we just want to have your name here. Okay, so let's save it. And now we don't see the name. Let's refresh the page again. Let's say call. Let's click update preview. And here we have call. That is great, guys. It is happening dynamically. Okay. So next we can do the following. Actually, let's complete our styling, and then we will have a button to be able to download this PDF. But even now, let's just look at this beauty, right? We can create our custom PDF files using React PDF library, and we can customize it the way we want. That is great, and we can make it to be dynamic, and it is really great, guys. Okay. So now let's continue styling. So to this H1 tag, let's say that text will be XL, font will be semi-bold, and margin bottom will be 4. Okay. Then let's say that to this div, we want to say that flex will be 1. If we hover over, it said that flex will be 1. It means that it will grow. So flex 1 means that this div is gonna take all the available space. Okay, not the full width, but it's gonna grow as much as it can to take all the available space. Then let's say that we want to have a border, and it will be rounded large, and overflow will be hidden. And let's say that mean height will be 500 pixels. Okay, then what we can do next is that to this div we can apply the following styles. Let's say that it will be flex, and justify will be center, and items will be center, and height will be full, and text will be center. So let's save it. Okay, so now let's refresh the page, and as you can see, name isn't provided, and we see enter details to generate preview. Let's enter a name. Let's say Frank, and now I'm not gonna click it. I'm gonna press enter. And now I see this certificate. That's great. Let's even say Frank Smith. Let's click update preview. And here we have Frank Smith. Okay, next, as I said, we want to have a button to be able to download this PDF. So under this div, we can create one more div. Let's say that to this div, we want to apply a class, which will be margin top will be 4. And here we need to use another component, which will be PDF download link. Okay, and the document that we want to download, let's say document that we want to download will be certificate, and this certificate also has certificate data. And then we can also define what name this PDF will have. So for that we can say file name will be equal to certificate.pdf. You can call it whatever you want. Okay guys, and here inside this PDF download link, we can get access to the loading state which PDF download link component gives us. Okay, so let's say that here we want to have loading. So we need to be very careful here. So we have this loading, okay, and here we also want to have a button. Of course, we want to have a button. So again, as I said, we get this loading from PDF download link component. So we need to say that this button should be disabled. So let's say disabled if there is loading, or if there is no certificate data.name provided. So it will be disabled in these two cases. Then for the class name, let's say that class name, it will also be conditional styles. So for that, we can use curly braces and backticks, and we need to say that width will be full, padding vertically will be 3, and rounded will be large. It will be in all the cases. But then we need to say if there is a loading or certificate data.name isn't provided, then we want to apply these styles. If not, we want to apply these styles. So if there is loading or certificate data.name isn't provided, of course here we need to say isn't provided, then we need to say that background color will be gray 400 and cursor will be not allowed. So let's say not allowed. But if there is no loading and name is provided, we need to say that background color will be green 600, and on hover we can say that it will be green 700. And then also we can continue applying common styles, which will be text will be white, font will be medium, and we can add some shadow. Okay, and also for the actual value of this button, for the actual text, we can say that if there is loading, we can say this. If not, we can say this. So if there is loading, we can say preparing, let's say preparing document. And if there is no loading, we can say download certificate. Okay, so let's save it. Okay, now let's try it. So now I will refresh the page, and it says enter details to generate preview. Now if I click update preview, nothing is happening. Okay, so now I will provide a name. Let's say Paul Smith. Let's click update preview. And here we have certificate of achievement to Paul Smith. And let's say that it will be fit to page. And now let's click download certificate. Okay, let's click download certificate, but looks like downloading isn't happening. Okay, looks like we have an error somewhere. Let's find out. Well guys, I think that we had the error because here I forgot to provide styles. So let's provide styles here as well. So let's save this file and try one more time. So now I will refresh the page and let's say Harry Smith. Let's click update preview. Okay, it looks cool. Let's say that it will be like this, and let's click download. Okay, let's open it. Great. It looks great, but the file name is document and I expected it to be certificate. Okay, we can take care of that. But anyway, it is already great, right? You can print this, so you can see print, and as you can see, it will look like this. As you can see, file name should be outside of document object, right? It should be right here. So they should be on one level. So now let's try one more time. So let's close this one and now let's say that here we want to have, let's say Alan Scholes. And now I will click update preview. Here we have Alan Scholes. So let's click download certificate. Great. Let's open it. That is really great, guys. The name is certificate, the way like we want it. Okay. And as you remember, guys, I said that sometimes when we apply some styles, we don't see that it is applied immediately. So I faced some issues when I worked with this React PDF. Well, guys, I had this error. And then I searched it in the internet and I found a solution to it. So if some of you face this error, you can solve it this way. You can come to your, let's find it. You can come to your PDF download link component and you can say key date to be now. So you can call this function, okay? And the same you can do with this PDF viewer. So you can do it and it should solve your problem, okay? So this problem happens because of the fact that I put it down to the fact how React's hot module replacement works. The PDF viewer from React PDF keeps some internal state, and when the code reloads, that state doesn't reset correctly. That's why we see errors like EO isn't a function. A quick fix is to force React to completely remount the PDF component whenever the file changes. We can do that by adding key to be equal to date.now function. So we can do it by calling this function to the PDF viewer or to some other components like PDF download link. Every time the code refreshes, React sees a new key, destroys the old component, and mounts a fresh one, which clears out the broken state and fixes the error. Okay, that's it guys. I think that this video was really helpful. If you find this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it yet. Thank you, I really appreciate it.